Sorry about the speaker. There we go. Thank you all for being here today in person and on our live stream. Before we get started, please stand for the reciting of the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. I think it's a solo, David. With that, I have some general reminders for everyone, and I'll try to take note of them myself, who may be speaking or presenting at today's meeting. We want to make sure everyone is heard as clearly as possible, so please ensure that your microphone is turned on when you speak, and speak directly into the microphone to ensure your audio is picked up well. This brings us to our first order of business, which is approving the minutes from the June 18th commission meeting. Has everybody had a chance to review those? I assume you have. You had them emailed to you or sent to you.
Mr. Chairman, I move the minutes be approved from the last meeting.
Okay, we've got a motion. Do I hear a second?
Second.
We've got a motion and second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion passes. Now we move on to the minute orders for this meeting. As a reminder, all minute orders will be held for signing until after the meeting concludes. If you have any questions or comments about the minute orders as they are being read, please let me know. For the reading of the minute orders, I will call upon Dave Parker, who is head of our communications division. Dave?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. As always, minute order 1 simply asks for approval of the actions taken by our purchasing committee since the last commission meeting. Minute order 2 gives authorization to pay dues in the amount of $239,000 to AASHTO's Engineering Technical Service Programs. AASHTO is the American Association of State Highway and Transportation Officials. Minute order 3, authorization to take part in the Federal Highway Administration's Technology Transfer Concrete Pooled Study. This is for the years 2025 to 2029. Minute order 4. This minute order is asking for approval to proceed with the recommended awards for the Arkansas Truck and Safety Education Program projects. Minute order 5, it gives approval to establish a stream gauge program in coordination with the U.S. Geological Survey as funds become available. Minute order 6, this minute order is asking for permission to utilize consultants' services for the purpose of updating the 2016 Arkansas State Highway Needs Study. Minute order 7, this asks for authorization to adopt the Arkansas State Railroad Plan as a guide for future planning investments. Minute order 8 comes from District 6 here in Pulaski County. It calls for making a clarification of the legal description of tracks 1, 2, and 3, job number 6457, which was previously released to Saline County. Minute order 9, this involves an improvement project asking for approval to proceed with the planning and eventual construction of vulnerable road user safety projects as they are identified and the funding becomes available. Minute order 10, another improvement project, this time in Ashley County. This calls for the approval to proceed with the planning and construction of safety improvement projects at the intersection of Highway 82, 425, and Highway 52 east of Crossett as the funding becomes available. Minute Order 11, Washington County, calling for authorization to proceed with the necessary actions to proceed with the design and rehabilitation of the structural, electric, mechanical, and roadway systems of the Bobby Hopper Tunnel as funds become available.
Mr. Chairman? Hello?
Yes, sir. I was looking around to see who you were talking to.
Still hadn't sunk in yet, huh?
No? That takes me a while.
Director, would you mind to kind of go through that a little bit about what we're looking at, what we're looking forward to in terms of rehabilitation?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. So the tunnel is over 25 years old now, and with that, is in need of an electrical system upgrade, a mechanical system, the ventilation fans, and lighting upgrades as well. So when we work on the tunnel now, we have to, it's kind of tricky. You have to shut down one lane and traffic backs up. And with this plan, we'd like to build crossovers north and south of the tunnel so that we can move traffic over into one barrel of that tunnel and shut the whole barrel down on the other side and work on it much more safely and keep traffic moving more efficiently. So this would give us authority to go ahead and design that project, and then as we work through the STIP program, we would look for funding for actually doing the project.
Did you get your question answered?
Moving on, Minute Order 12, in Washington and Benton counties. This asks for the authorization to adopt the Western North-South Corridor Study to use as a planning guide as the monies become available. Minute Order 13 calls for authorization to adopt the Highway 64 study. This is for the Fort Smith area. It would be for use as a future planning guide. Minute Order 14, Benton County. This minute order calls for approval to adopt the Highways 59 and 72 corridor study for use as a future planning guide. Minute Order 15, Crittenden County. This minute order calls for the naming of the future Interstate 55 bridge over the Mississippi River to be King's Crossing. And finally, Minute Order 16, we end up in District 6. This minute order asks for approval to designate the Interstate 30 bridge over the Saline River in Benton as the Paul Baker Memorial Bridge. And that is it, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, David. Mr. Director, would you give us a background on the naming of that bridge, how that came about?
Yes, sir. So 18 years ago, I believe, Mr. Baker was a volunteer fireman, and he was responding to an accident there on the bridge, and he slid across the hood, is my understanding, to try to help get somebody out of a vehicle quickly, and he slid off of the bridge and fell to his death. And so his widow reached out to Senator Kim Hammer, and he had asked us what the process was to get the bridge named after an individual, and so they followed that process, and we're here today doing that.
Good deal.
Yes,
Thank
sir.
you.
Yes, sir.
Are there any other questions on the minute orders? Okay. We'll move on now to the next order of business. For that, I'll ask Patrick Patton, our Chief Financial Officer, to come to the podium and present our State Highway Financial Report.
Good morning. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Oh, is it not hear me? Or now can you? Okay, I'll get a little closer. So what I'll be discussing today is the results of state fiscal year 2025. I'll also give a little, as I go through the revenues, give you an idea of what we budgeted for 26 also, to give you some kind of idea of where we're heading for this next year. This first slide is our budgeted versus actual by our budget category. As you can see, all the budgets are under, with one exception, which was our capital outlay expense. This overage was basically due to timing and the supply chain timing improving. So we got some things sooner than we thought we would. And so it's about $3.3 million over. Some of that was road machinery and equipment, and some of it was AHP vehicles. But overall, I'm happy to report that we were under $20.2 million, or 10% below our budgeted expenses. This next slide will show the 5-year trends of actual revenue, and I'll contrast that with what we're looking at going forward. For motor fuel, we're at our 2021 levels is about what we're seeing right now. The 25 actual was about $360 million. For 26, we're budgeting about $8 million more, $368 million, which is about a 2% increase. For registrations, we ended the year at $108.5 million, or our 2022 levels. And so rounding that up, it's about 109. We're budgeting $105 million, just a little decrease. For other, which is the permits, penalties, driver search, and some other categories of revenue, we came in at about $25 million. We're staying flat at our request that you approved last commission meeting at $26 million. The natural gas severance, we did receive $12 million this year. We're still being conservative with that and projecting at $9 million for 2026. Our operating interest, right now we are at our 2024 levels. We're getting 3.45% interest on our cash, which is a decent return. We're staying flat and projecting about $9 million for interest for next year. Amendment 101, it came in strong, the highest we've had since its inception at $281 million. We're projecting $287 for 26. Casino revenue came in June 30 at $35 million. The actual casino revenue fund brought in about $30 million, so there was about $5 million that came from the general revenue fund of the governors to get us whole at $35 million. We did receive our $50 million state surplus. I do want to mention that in 26 we're projecting $4 million less due to the projections from DF&A that there'd be less than $200 million in projected surplus next year, or in this year, 26. We are set to receive our $20 million, which is another pot of money at the Security Reserve Fund. What that is the first $20 million on the Treasury deposits for the state. We get that first $20 million. When it accumulates, we can go ask for it from the legislature. We've put in our request. It's supposed to go in September, so we'll be looking forward to getting that money by the end of September. So overall, with all the words I've mentioned, we're in good shape. We're tracking the way we felt we would. So that's good.
Mr. Chairman, I've got a couple of questions.
Go ahead.
Patrick, I can't remember from when we started the registrations. Hybrid vehicles, did they pay the same registration as any other electric vehicle? Is that a flat fee, or how does that work?
So with that, the hybrids, if it's a fully electric, it's $100. If it's a plug-in, it's $50. And that leads into this slide of some information. But if you've got other questions, I'll answer those too.
I've got one more. The casino revenue. So is 35 our max out?
No, ma'am. So right now it is, because the idea was we'd get $35 million, whatever the casino tax produced, and then the governor would put in the rest to get us to 35.
Okay.
So with the trend I'm seeing over since its inception, we're gaining about $5 million a year. So with that said, with the governor's office putting in about $5 or $6 million the next 2 years, we'll hit the $35 million with the casino revenue tax, and then there is no ceiling after that.
Okay.
Commissioner, I want to clarify the electric vehicles is $200 for the fee, and then the hybrid is 100, and plug-in electric is 50. So there are 3 gradations
Right.
in Arkansas.
Yep.
And recently at the federal level, there was an effort to try to recoup some of that lost revenue. It didn't make it through, but we're hoping to see something happen with the next highway bill. But if not, we're going to have to talk about that at a state level because we're losing out on that revenue as the EV fleet grows in Arkansas.
Thank you.
Thank you, Director, for.
What is the percentage that we receive from casinos? What is our percentage?
There's a bunch of other things that come out before. I can look and bring that back to you. There's about 4 tiers that come off the casino, and then we get that lower tier. I know some of it goes to the racing commission, some other parts, and I think off the top of my head, I think the racing commission's like 17% of it. But I can look at the law and get that.
You mentioned it kept going. I was thinking we got to 35, and I didn't know how we got above that.
Well, it's the collection. So once they collect all our portion. Okay, yeah, I can get you that.
Yeah, we'll get that. Ours is the last piece of that, and then the governor makes up the difference. And so we're trending in a few years to collect 35 plus, but we're seeing it grow each year.
But it'll still grow on a percentage. It won't just cap and then go into general.
That's right.
Okay.
We're set to receive anything that is collected above 35 million.
Okay, great. Thank you.
Any other questions? So heading to the budgeted versus actual revenue, overall, we were 10 million below projected budget, or 1.1%. 9.3 million of that was from the DK trading settlement. So if we would not have had to take a reduction for that settlement, we would have been right on top of budgeted revenues. I'd like to thank the people that worked on the budget in 25 because that's a good accomplishment to be right on top of it. Looking at registration fees and piggybacking off the question, the director is correct. Full electric's 200, and then we've got the breakout of the 100 and the 50. There's been a lot of articles recently on numbers in the state of how many vehicles we have, and I'd like to share a couple of stats with you on that real quick. In 2019, there were 781 fully electric vehicles. As of 2025, there's 8,800. So obviously a large increase there for Arkansas. Other states probably are growing a lot higher. For the hybrid, there were about 14,000 in 2019, and we're at 49,000, almost 50,000 now. So it is growing, but it's such a small revenue stream, it really doesn't impact us that much. But we're happy to get it. There's been an article in the Democrat Gazette, and then I've got one that came out in Arkansas Business just the other day. So didn't know if y'all had seen those or not.
Patrick, I've got a question on that. Is there a way to quantify? I guess you couldn't do it unless just asking for personal data. But is there a way to figure out what the percentage of consumption versus charging is for an average hybrid? Because a hybrid motorist, they're going to charge whenever possible,
Right.
and then they're going to use the gas consumption. So it's not a 50-50 split, right? It's based on individuals, but I wonder what that average comes out to, and if that's in line with our charges.
That's a good question. I will see if I can find some information out about that. Initially it's hard to figure out how they'd track it, because you'd almost have to be the individual reporting it. But because when you fill up, you wouldn't be saying, "Hey, I'm a hybrid. I'm filling up and I'm getting this much gas," and then you back into the electric number. But I'll see what I can find. So, like I said, 29 million came in the casino tax. 6 million is going to be the state general revenue. Hopefully, in the next couple of years, we will be surpassing that 35 million. We came in, like I said, 10 million and 1.1% below budget. Now looking at the consumption year over year, gasoline, we're tracking right with the 23-24 consumption numbers at 1.5 billion gallons in 25. Diesel, we're up about a little more than 0.5%, and it's flat. It continues to be a relatively flat consumption curve here. This last slide just shows you, it's a very predictable consumption line chart from quarter to quarter. It does not vary that much, and this is through June of 25. Anybody have any questions? All right, thank you.
With that, I'll turn the meeting over to Director Jared Wiley. Director Wiley, it's all yours.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. First up, I'd like to ask Kevin Thornton, our Chief of Administration, to come up and talk to us about what's been going on in Washington.
Thank you, Director Wiley. Mr. Chairman, Commissioners, we have been operating on a continuing resolution, or CR, for all of federal fiscal year 2025. That CR will expire on September 30th, which is just 41 days from now. Congress has been working on funding for next year. Both the House and Senate Appropriation Committees have passed their version of the Transportation, Housing, and Urban Development, or THUD bill. Currently, Congress is in their August recess. Between their return on September 2nd and the end of the fiscal year, the House will only be in session for 14 days. The Senate is scheduled to only be in session for 16 days. This leaves little time for both bodies to work out the differences that exist between their bills with respect to spending levels and priorities. Therefore, a CR for the start of 2026 is certainly possible. Congress will need to pass an appropriations bill or a CR if we are to receive our 2026 federal funding. So we'll just have to wait and see how this develops in the near future. Since the House and Senate Appropriation Committees have passed their versions of the next appropriation bill, we now know which projects are included to receive community project funding or earmark funding. Please remember that this list of additional funding has not passed the full House or the full Senate, which means it can change. With that in mind, we are grateful that these projects have been included in the bills that have passed out of committee, which is the first step in receiving this funding. In the House bill, due to Congressman Crawford's request, $6.7 million for future Interstate 57 and $11 million for the Highway 412 corridor are included in the bill. Due to Congressman Westerman's request, $7 million for Highway 82 Railroad Overpass is included in the bill. And due to Congressman Womack's request, $3 million for Highway 112, $3 million for future Interstate 49, and $59 million for the Springdale Northern Bypass are included in the bill. In the Senate, due to Senator Bozeman's request, $15.8 million for future Interstate 49 is included in their bill. We cannot express enough that we appreciate the efforts of these members of our delegation for all they do to request and receive this important funding for these significant transportation projects here in the state. We will be watching closely these bills as they should become our next appropriations bill for 2026. The last item I have to report is about the Infrastructure Investment and Jobs Act, or as it's more commonly called, the IIJA. Please remember that the IIJA is an authorization act. Authorization acts establish the programs and structure of how federal funds can be used for infrastructure improvements, and they usually cover 4 or 5 years. Appropriation acts actually approve the money that we are allowed to spend and usually cover no more than 1 year at a time. The IIJA began in 2022, and it will expire on September 30th, 2026. While September 2026 is a little more than a year away, it is not too soon to begin to discuss how we need our next Infrastructure Authorization Act to be written. As part of this discussion, we, along with all other state DOTs, were recently invited to an event in Washington, D.C. by the U.S. Department of Transportation, where Secretary of Transportation Sean Duffy and other federal officials spoke about their desire to build American infrastructure in a safer, faster, and more efficiently manner. In this picture, you can see Secretary Duffy as he addressed all of us and the media. Secretary Duffy went on to say that they want to enhance their relationship with state departments of transportation to help accomplish these goals. We were also able, through this event, to attend a roundtable discussion with the Deputy Secretary of Transportation, Stephen Bradbury, and leadership of the Federal Highway Administration, so that they could hear directly from us and get a state-level perspective on the nation's transportation's needs. The most common aspects that were discussed include the need to ensure that a significant portion of federal funds are distributed through formula funding to the states. Also, the need for increased flexibility and transferability of federal funding between the programs in the Authorization Act, and the need to use the current funding levels as a baseline for future transportation acts. This invitation provided an excellent opportunity to speak directly with federal leaders and how we can improve our state transportation systems and thereby improving the nation's transportation system. Director Wiley, that concludes my report.
Kevin, Mr. Chairman, question for you. Thank you for bringing this up. I appreciate your report on the meeting with Transportation Secretary Duffy. As you know, we're having a groundbreaking on I-49, a groundbreaking ceremony on Friday, and we're looking forward to that as the beginning of hopefully building I-49 out in Arkansas. I saw something, and I wish I could have talked to you before the meeting. I didn't have a chance, and I don't mean to surprise you on this, but I want to get your thoughts on this, or maybe you have some information about this. This was on there's a group called Future I-49, Future I-14, apparently, that has a Facebook page, and here's what they said. They announced that the Arkansas State Highway Commission, the Arkansas State Highway Commission and Department of Transportation will have a groundbreaking ceremony on I-49 bridge across the Arkansas River, the first of 4 projects, et cetera, et cetera. Construction is estimated to be complete by early 29. And then they go on to say, fortunately, Congress is seriously considering reestablishing guaranteed formula funding. That may be what you were referring to there. Congress is seriously considering reestablishing guaranteed formula funding like the original interstate system had between 1956 and 1951 for future interstate projects like I-49 in the next Surface Transportation Authorization Bill in 2026. The Arkansas River Bridge is still funded under the grant loan system established in 1991. Guaranteed formula funding means I-49 between I-40 and I-30 may get annual funding for construction as soon as 2028. What is that talking about? What do you know about this consideration of changing a formula system? Interpret that for me. What do you hear?
To me, what I'm hearing is that there's an effort. I can tell you there is an effort by the state DOTs to push more money through formula funding than through grant funding. You know, when the IIJ came out, there was a significant increase in the amount of competitive grants that came out. Many, many more programs and increased funding for competitive grants. But that has not proven, I think, over the term of the IIJA to deliver so-called money to the ground. It's taken a long time for that funding to be able to be turned into actual projects on the ground. The state DOTs are saying that if you will put this through formula funding and spread it out across the states, we can turn that into projects much quicker than what the grants have proven to be able to do with the current grant process. And that's not talking negatively toward anyone. It's simply talking about the process of how the funding is handled within competitive grants as opposed to how the funding is handled in formula funds. And that is a key point I can tell you that we make from Arkansas with our delegation. I can also tell you that nationally, this is one of the key points that our national organization, AASHTO, continues to make with the federal leadership of USDOT, FHWA, and even congressional leaders as well.
What do you think the chances of, well, first of all, do you see a lot of support in Congress for this move? And if you do, what are the chances it might be approved this coming year?
There was quite a bit of discussion at the roundtable about, and even and at the press conference as well, Secretary Duffy talked about getting back to the basics, which made us think that, yes, we're going to be seeing more funding put back into formula funds. Now, whether or not that is a decrease in the competitive grant funding or if that's simply an increase in the formula funding, that's up to Congress and their wisdom. But hopefully we're going to see more funding through formula funds because we as the DOT are able to take from that money to the ground much quicker than the competitive grant process.
Well, it sounds like to me if you have the formula funding, you kind of get a long-term plan for how you're going to build out something like I-49. You've got, and you get so much funding each year to get that done.
It certainly enhances our ability to plan and to project schedules and to be able to move toward the completion of projects, significant projects like I-49.
Yeah, you're not at the whim of just, can I get a grant this year for a little bit, a grant next year for a little bit, and that kind of thing.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. Well, thank you for that. I appreciate it.
And Commissioner, I wanted to add in, it's not been that long ago that DOT's got funding that was specifically reserved for interstates. About a decade ago, that funding was discontinued. So we haven't heard that conversation in our meetings, but it's certainly something that we would support. We talk to our delegation all the time about the need to build out the rest of the interstates in Arkansas. So I'm encouraged by that article for sure.
Great. Thank you.
Yes, sir. Kevin, thank you for going there and representing us at that meeting. Much appreciated. All right, next I'd like to ask Crystal Woods to come up. She's our Assistant Chief for Administration, and she's going to update us on our efficiency review implementation.
Good morning. As the director said, I'll update you on the progress we've made since your last meeting on implementing these recommendations. All right, recommendation number 3 called for publishing the status of construction projects and maintenance activities. As you know, we have made a lot of progress with our construction projects, and I'm here to report additional progress on the maintenance side. With the help of our consultant Garver, we've identified the information needed to publish the status of these maintenance activities. This work also supports recommendation number 7, which focuses on implementing project and portfolio management frameworks. A key piece of that recommendation is the implementation of our new maintenance management system, and data from that system is what we are using for the public reporting of our maintenance activities. So neither recommendation is fully complete, but this progress moves us significantly closer to closing both of those recommendations. Recommendation number 6 directed us to implement construction contractor performance measurement. You will recall that we established a contractor performance evaluation committee. We identified metrics defining quality and performance of our prime contractors. We developed a standard evaluation form, created a process for compiling those forms into one final project evaluation, established a review and appeal process, and developed guidance on when those evaluations will be required. The final step in this recommendation is to gather stakeholder feedback, and these documents have now been sent to our industry partners. Once their comments are addressed, this recommendation will be complete. And we hope to start using the new process as early as the November bid letting. Recommendation number 8 focused on implementing best practices in construction project design. The last action in this recommendation is to set up a process for flagging projects most likely to experience significant change orders that may result in project delays. A draft constructability review procedures manual has been prepared and submitted to our industry partners for review. After feedback and edits, this recommendation will also be complete. I'd like to pause here and express our appreciation to our industry partners for their input on both of these final steps, especially AGC of Arkansas, Arkansas Asphalt Pavement Association, and Arkansas Concrete Pavement Association. Now to look at our overall progress. 8 of the 13 recommendations are fully implemented. 81 of the 90 individual actions are considered complete. That's still 90% overall, which has not changed since your last meeting. However, we've made substantial headway on several of these last few recommendations. And I've also added a new slide this time to show our trend over time. Thank you, Commissioner Holder. In January of 2023, we were at 25% complete. December 2023, we were at 50%. October 2024, 74%. February 25, 83%. And as of today, 90% complete. Hopefully at a meeting very soon, by the end of the year we hope, we will be celebrating the 100% completion of these recommendations. That concludes my report. Are there any questions?
I had one question. Refresh my memory. 3, 4, and 7. They'll be on different platforms, or will they be on this? Like, will they be on the same platform? The ones that are available to the public, for instance, 3 and 4, and then 7 will have its own platform just for contractors, or is there like a section that contractors go in that's different?
Let me go back to that slide. So 3 is I don't know that we have an official name for it yet. It's a dashboard that's going to obviously share our construction projects and maintenance activities. 7 is not a dashboard. It's just that the data from that system is being fed into the system for number 3.
Okay.
And then number 4 is the Ask RDOT.
Okay.
And so there's been some talk about maybe there's also the KPI dashboard, and there's been some talk about ways to link, all of this information into one nice user-friendly portal.
Yeah, it'd be great for the people to be able to, for the traveling public to be able to go access it through Ask Arkansas instead of launching another platform
Right.
to eliminate confusion.
Yes, ma'am.
So that's great. Well, congratulations on 90%. That's great.
Thank you. Any other questions?
Thank you, Crystal. Next up, Jesse Jones, our Chief Engineer for Pre-Construction, is going to give us a bid letting update. We've had 2 bid lettings since your last meeting.
Thank you, Director. Good morning, Mr. Chairman and Commissioners. Since your last meeting, we had 2 successful bid lettings, one in June, one in August. In the June letting, we awarded 4 projects, 2 highway projects, 2 county projects, totaling $11 million. We have received 13 bids and from 12 different contractors. The first project I'd like to talk to you about is in Lono County, a bridge replacement project south of Humnoak. The estimated completion is early 2027. The next project is a partnering project in Jonesboro. This project will improve the intersection of Highway 49 and Parker Road. This is actually a partnering project that we started years ago. We're getting really close to complete our commitment on the partnering program. And this project is estimated to complete in late 2026. In the August letting, we awarded 6 projects, 2 highway projects, and 4 county projects, totaling $18.5 million. We received 20 bids and from 14 different contractors. And next project, this project is also a partnering project with City of Pine Bluff to make improvements on Highway 190 through Pine Bluff. The estimated completion is mid-2027. Next project is located in Crawford County on Highway 59 north of Van Buren. This project will realign Highway 59 approximately 0.38 mile. This location has experienced landslides after heavy rains. Previous attempts to try to stabilize this area have been unsuccessful. So with this realignment, the Highway 59 will be relocated in an area that's less prone for landslides. And the estimated completion is it's mid-2026. Also, this work is being paid for with federal emergency relief funds. The upcoming September bid letting will be on September 17th. It will include 9 state projects and 2 county projects. Finally, I would like to tell you about a partnership project with Missouri DOT. And we are partnering with them to replace the Highway 62 bridge over the St. Francis River. MoDOT took bids on this project last Friday, and the apparent low bid is approximately $11.5 million. And the cost sharing is 50-50 on this project, and we anticipate they will make award in September, on September the 4th. So if the project's awarded, the contractor will have until late 2026 to complete the project. During the construction, the bridge will be closed and a detour will be in place. And Director Wiley, that concludes my report.
Thank you, Jesse. Any questions for Jesse?
One question on that 59 highway realignment, that contractor, is that the same Robinson Construction that's the on-call contractor for problems in that area there? That is that not it? Do I know what I'm talking about?
Are you talking about on-call landslide?
Yes.
Contractor?
Yes. That's a different company?
Yeah, I don't think so, but I can double check to make sure.
I was just curious.
Yeah.
If that was the same one. Thank you.
All right. Thank you, Jesse. And next up, Rex Vines, our Chief Engineer for Operations, is going to update us on some construction and maintenance that's been going on around the state.
Thank you, Director. Good morning, Mr. Chairman, Commissioners. For our construction update this morning, just like to highlight that we have 257 active construction projects with a value of $2.7 billion. 38 jobs have been declared substantially complete since our last meeting, which represent $149 million worth of work. And we've paid out $196 million since our last meeting. So now we'd like to just take a look at a couple of jobs that we'd like to highlight for this meeting here. This is, if you'll remember, job 0870711. It's the Highway 13 relocation at the Green Bay Packing Facility. We just did a groundbreaking on that last August. Well, that job is now substantially complete. As of July, it was made possible by a partner agreement that included the Arkansas Economic Development Commission, Arkansas Highway Commission, Green Bay Packaging, and multiple counties, including Faulkner, Conway, Johnson, Pope, Saline, White, and the city of Morrilton. I'd like to just compliment McGeorge Contracting for this project. Turned out real well, on time and ahead of schedule. So for our next project, we've recently put the finishing touches on 2 years worth of work on I-40 between Clarksville and Russellville. A few years ago, we had a slide that impacted Interstate 40, and so this construction was completed last August, and they were able to actually build this and fix this slide without impacting traffic on I-40 because they were able to access from Highway 64. This was $2.6 million slide repair. And getting this job complete made it possible to finish the next job that we just finished up. This is once the slide was fixed, the settlement was leveled. Then we did a 20-mile preservation job. We milled and milled and inlaid 4 inches of asphalt. This was done by Blackstone Construction. And this job was completed just this past month. Yes, sir?
Traveled on that yesterday, man. They did a great job on that. That's really smooth.
I agree. I've driven on it too. They did a good job. They're a great contractor. Another project of special interest on I-49, bridge over the Arkansas River. This project was awarded to the Manhattan Road and Bridge for $283 million. The groundbreaking is scheduled for this coming Friday. As you can see in the picture, the ground is already broken. Work order was issued last December. They've been clearing and got started, but they've only completed less than 10% of the completion of the work. Then lastly, for our construction activities, this job is actually coming up quickly. It's scheduled to let in the September letting, but it's of special interest, I believe, to Mr. Chairman. It's Highway 112 widening in Fayetteville. This is made possible by partnering with the city of Fayetteville and us. We'll be building 3 roundabouts on this, along with the pedestrian tunnel. It'll be 100% paid for by the city. So this job is set to let next month. Yes, sir. Oh, it's thumbs up, not a
Thumbs
question.
up.
All
Thumbs
right.
up.
All right. Okay, now we'll move on to our maintenance activities. As we report many times in here, our litter and debris removal is just a constant problem. It's even made worse when you have long sections of divided highway, multi-lane with the concrete barrier wall between them, because it just collects the trash. It's a hazard. It's unsightly. So our district area maintenance crews are really struggling to keep up with this. So our district engineer, Hunter Lake, last year came to us and said, hey, we want to build a special crew just to take care of this, and they have done that. They built a District 6 launched a sweeping crew with 8 to 10 staff members, and they clean. All they do is clean the shoulders, and they run 4 vacuum sweepers, a road rake, and they can clear up to 12 miles a day on this with this activity. One thing that I would like to highlight, it's kind of hard to see, but this truck has the work zone fines doubled sign on it, and you can kind of see the green lights on everything. So I'd like to, that really, this new legislation means a lot. And one thing I noticed looking at the picture is this right here, that empty lane next to our workers. And so that tells me it's working. And so we much appreciate the legislation and the ability to do this. And just special thanks to Hunter for looking for innovative ways to take care of a problem. So, yes, sir.
I just want to throw something out there while we're talking about this. I see a lot of retread tires littering the highway all over and it's not just a little piece; it's big pieces, and there's some other items out there, but that seems like the thing I see the most of.
Yes, sir.
And of course, we can't track down what truck it came off of.
No.
But something that would be, we might want to look into is whoever the offenders are, that they pay for picking it up. In other words, you put a fee on retreads that's focused on picking up their mess whenever they're going down the highway. I'm just throwing that out there that it kind of makes sense to me that if they're the offenders, that they put some money in there for it.
I agree with you wholeheartedly.
Well, you do that then.
I'll do that. I'll take care of that. Would next week be soon enough?
Yeah, just go ahead.
Okay.
Rex, do we have data showing how much of that debris is road debris, tires versus litter?
I don't think we have any data on that because it kind of gets picked up all at the same time. We do collect it and it goes to recycle, so we could probably get some. I don't know that we have any readily available.
Okay. We'll look and see what we can find out about the situation, Mr. Chairman.
And I think too, people think, litter is just trash out of a car, but really it's those unsecured loads that are throwing big items. I mean, here in District 6, I'm calling in all the time. I mean, pieces of furniture, equipment, and just huge bags of trash. And people just take off with whatever's in the back of their truck. And, any kind of way we can think to crack that down, it's just a huge, as you know, terrible issue for us.
We actually had 2 porta potties dumped on I-440 yesterday.
Anybody in them?
Not when we got there.
And they don't need to be putting the debris on shopping center parking lots either.
No.
This would be the next place to do.
Yeah. So we've got a clip here from one of our employees speaking to some new legislation that we are using.
Yeah, it works because you think about it. If it says fine double, people don't want the money. They don't want to spend no money. A lot of people have been getting over it earlier. Once they see the lights, they've added the lights to the signs and stuff. They've been getting over it. A lot of them have. That does make me feel safer.
We're busy overnight replacing 2 bridge decks on Highway 28 near Walden in Scott County. The existing decks were in really poor shape and was load posted significantly. So our crews went in on Friday night and replaced the deck on a crew on one of the bridges, opened it back up by Saturday afternoon. They came back Saturday midnight, replaced the deck on the second bridge, opened it up by Sunday afternoon. This was significantly less impact to traffic. It happened over a weekend and with a pretty significant cost savings. So I'm just proud of this group and thankful for their willingness to be away from their families over the weekend. And I'm always blown away at these guys' efforts and and abilities. You can see here them standing on one of the decks. You know, to do this kind of work in a weekend is really very impressive. And then something else that's been in the news lately, during a routine inspection of the Beaver Bridge on August 6th, inspectors discovered a crack in a steel girder. And I'll have to admit, I had a little PTSD flashback on this one. Bridge, the bridge crew immediately mobilized, went to it. This was, I think, on a Wednesday or Thursday. They started moving stuff up there, and Monday morning had the bridge under repair. This bridge has had a few incidences where we've had overweight loads. This bridge is load rated at 10 tons, or was load rated at 10 tons. I want to show you a video of a load we caught going across this bridge that was over the limit. The previous routine bridge inspection was in August of 24. On January 16th, an overweight load was noticed crossing the bridge, and we did a special inspection to be sure that there were no problems there. The highway police identified the owner of the truck, contacted them, and advised them not to cross again. There have been a few other incidences on this bridge that we've had overweight loads, one school bus, a couple of construction delivery places, and we have called each time we've called them, said, you know, you don't need to be on this, and done a special inspection just to be sure no damage was done.
Rex, can we find them for that?
No, ma'am. Not to my knowledge, anyway.
You say, can we? Yes, we can.
Oh, we can.
Yes, we have to catch them out there doing it. We have some enforcement laws in place, but yes, we can, and we will. Yes.
Here's just some pictures of the guys doing the work. They put splice plates over the areas. During the inspection, we did locate another developing crack about 20 feet from the first one, and so we've spliced those. We have actually dropped the weight limit to 5 tons on this bridge, and we're considering height restrictions as well to minimize the impact possibility of box trucks going across it. So look to see that coming out soon. The crews will also be doing some retrofit work that was scheduled already that has nothing to do with this work, but it's coming up over the next 4 or 5 months. But we're trying to schedule that work to minimize impacts to traffic and allow people to get to and from work without impacting them. And so we're hoping that will go smoothly. And just want to highlight here some of the communications. You know, they did a great job of getting the message out, keeping the public informed of what was going on, and we got some great feedback from the public through our social media platforms. And I just especially want to thank our bridge team, Andy Nanaman and Rick Ellis, for getting this work out fast. Andy's team specifically is under me, so I'm going to brag on him a little more. But the repair crews, they did a great job. The inspectors, everything. This is it's been a good team effort by all the branches. So just like to thank them all. And that concludes my report. Unless there are any questions.
Thank you, Rex. Thank you to our team. You met Andy, if you hadn't met him before, at the Good Roads meeting. Andy's here with us today. Andy, would you stand up? Andy's over our bridge operations team, and these repair crews work for him. And then Rick Ellis is head of our bridge design division. Rick's here with us as well. We appreciate Rick. These guys have a lot of experience and do great work for us.
Jared?
Yes, sir.
What's the traffic on that bridge?
It's very low, a few hundred vehicles a day.
A few hundred?
Yeah, it's low traffic. But most of those are cars and vehicles, and so this restriction shouldn't impact commerce in that area. Good question for sure. All right, so now I'm going to give you an update about what's been going on around the department since your last meeting, and we've been busy. right after our last commission meeting, we held our general staff meeting at Mount Magazine State Park. This meeting is an annual meeting that we've held for years and years at the department. It's a chance for the leadership to get together to talk about our accomplishments, to provide direction to the team over the next year, make sure we're all on the same page. We appreciate Shay Lewis and his team for making the Mount Magazine State Park available to us for that meeting. We had a great discussion, as you can see some pictures from the event on the screen, and it really was a good time to spend with our team. On June 24th, I was asked by Judge Brumley in Saline County to speak at the Old River Bridge ribbon cutting. This is a neat project. It's the state's oldest bridge that's still in its original location. So this project was funded through multiple federal grants, through RDOT, through Metroplan, and others. But great team effort. It's been over a decade in the making. The bridge was dismantled, sent off for repairs, and brought back and reassembled and put back in place. It'll be used to carry foot traffic and bicycle traffic across the Saline River Bridge on the Southwest Trail, which is a trail that connects Hot Springs and Little Rock. So it's going to be a fantastic project. Folks are excited about it in the community, and it was an honor for me to be there speaking at that bridge just a few miles from my home. Yeah, thank you. It kept the sun off of me. It was hot that day, but it was that black was the wrong color choice that day, I'm telling you. The next day I was at Metroplan here in Little Rock. That's the Metroplan is the Metropolitan Planning Organization for Central Arkansas. They invited me to speak to their board, and I really enjoyed that conversation. I talked to them about our goals, what we're working hard on this year, what I'm working hard on, what our staff is, and those three things being relationships, communication, and safety. So we talked about that. Update them on some projects and programs, including our safety campaigns. I'll talk a little bit about those here in a few minutes. And we also talked about our Fallen Worker Memorial and other partnership opportunities with the group. We had a great, somebody snagged this picture of me laughing, but this was a great meeting with our Federal Highway Administration. We talked about the Federal Highways situation last meeting here, and I want to take a quick minute to brag on these two gentlemen, Jeff Schmidt on the right, Eric Griffin on the left. These two guys are in Mississippi. They have been asked to help lead our Little Rock team, and they're doing a fantastic job. Things are moving as efficiently as they were before. We're getting things approved, signed off on with speed, and we appreciate that. And I don't take that lightly. These guys have a regular job in Mississippi to do, and they're also helping us here in Arkansas, and we appreciate that. And yesterday they came in person to see us, and they brought their regional director. He's over the whole South, and they came to RDOT here at headquarters and met with us to make sure things were going the way we needed them to go. So I'm very appreciative of that. You don't hear the same story in other states. Some states are having a little harder time getting things approved, I'll put it that way, but we aren't seeing it here in Arkansas, and it's to these guys' credit. On July 1st, we were invited by the AAA and the Arkansas State Police to come to their Slow Down, Move Over press event. Again, our partners, RDOT, we're trying to get the word out about being safe drivers, giving our folks room when they're out there doing their job. So thankful to Ellen Coulter. She went and spoke on behalf of the department and talk to them about our campaign, Slow Down, Phone Down, other things coming up like Street Smart. So appreciate Ellen being there, and I appreciate the partnership with those agencies as we all look to improve safety. July 10th, we held our annual scholarship drawing for SASHTO, our Southern Association of State Highway and Transportation Officials, our regional group. They fund scholarships through all the member DOTs, and so we were able to draw for 30 scholarships, $3,500 scholarships here. Eligible recipients, they must be employee or offspring of an active employee, a retired employee, or anyone who lost their life on duty, any employee. And that program is popular. I got a really nice thank you note from one of the gentlemen whose name was drawn the other day. On July 15th and 16th, we had our intern orientation program, and this makes me smile. If you look at that picture on the left, that's the biggest number of interns that I'm aware we've ever had. 101 interns came to work for RDOT this summer. Back when I was an intern, it was half that or less. So we've done a fantastic job. Our team, HR is recruiting. Our leadership is doing a great job of showing these students a great time and what RDOT is all about in the summer. And that's why you see so many people here in this program. So appreciate that. We had 27 colleges represented, 13 in-state, 14 out-of-state schools. And I want to give a shout out to Kevin. I heard a lot of great compliments, Kevin, on your speech about what RDOT has to offer, retirement programs, and the benefits. So thank you for doing that. July 23rd, we cut a ribbon on our Scoggin Drive Extension Partnering Project in Monticello. Commissioners Gibson, Hake, and Halsey were able to attend that event, and it was a great event. The community is so excited about that new connection. Kevin and I worked on that for a long time to get that built, as well as many others around the department. Nita McDaniel, the executive director, she championed it locally. She was there speaking that day, executive director of the Monticello Economic Development Commission. Former chairman of the Highway Commission, Robert S. Moore, was there and said a few words to the crowd. The mayor, Mayor Jason Akers, and Representative Jeff Wardlaw spoke to the group. Great event. This project improves traffic flow, and it provides a connection over the railroad track. So previously, if there was a train coming through town, emergency services were interrupted, access to the schools were interrupted. No longer. This overpass takes you right in the front door. Our Good Roads Summer Policy Event, July 24th, 25th. Of course, you guys were all there. It was a great event. I'm really proud of that first day, the bridge inspection demo that we got from our team. It's really neat to see the talent that we have. Rex talked about it a little bit about that a few minutes ago, but it was neat to see their equipment, the snooper, the aerial drone, the underwater drone, the sonar boat. Just a great day. And again, Andy, thank you and your team for putting that on for the group. It was fantastic. The next day, we had our policy portion of the meeting, and it was a big day too. It started off with the economic development breakfast, where we talked about the state's infrastructure, where we're headed, and what the needs are for the Central Arkansas region. Commissioner Holder spoke about the history of the Highway Commission and the Good Roads contribution to our mission, and we appreciated that. I was able to share about some project updates and what RDOT's working on. Randy Zook from the Chamber spoke, did a fantastic job of talking about the growth and the potential that Arkansas is beginning to unlock. It was a really good conversation, and of course, Congressman Westerman surprised us with a visit, and we appreciate him stopping by. That same day, in northwest Arkansas, Jason Huey was there to cut a ribbon on Highway 170 in Farmington. This was a project that we had worked with the city on for a number of years. It was one that was met with some utility delays. You remember, Mr. Chairman, there were some issues that led to some of the legislation that we were able to pass that helped strengthen our case there. But this project is done now, and the city has taken over that highway as part of the partnership. But thankful to Jason Huey for being there on that big day. In early August, our leadership team was in Lexington for our SASHTO annual meeting. This meeting allows us to meet with our peers in other states, share ideas, collaborate with them, learn what's going on in their worlds. If you guys remember, we hosted the event last year in Rogers. Heard a lot of compliments. Folks were saying, I can't wait to come back to Arkansas when we saw them in Lexington. So we'd love to hear that. It was a great meeting, and we appreciate the fellowship. Another big day, Rex mentioned a few minutes ago, on August 5th, our new legislation took effect. I highlight on the screen here, I think, the big five from that as far as safety and efficiency goes for RDOT. But Rex mentioned our fines doubling in mobile work zones. That's law now. Thank you to Dave Parker and his team for helping us get the word out, for being out on the news, making sure folks aren't surprised by this. But we're serious about safety, and thank you for helping us get that message out. Green lights, of course, you're seeing them around now on RDOT vehicles and contractor vehicles. And I actually came up on the sweeper a few weeks ago and they had the green lights, and people were moving over. And I was so glad to see that. It's making a difference for sure. Work zone safety is now required in our driver's license manual, so that's another reason or another way that we're able to reach our young students before they get behind the wheel of a car. Our construction manager general contractor program is now permanent. It's no longer pilot. That's a big deal for us as we seek to tackle complex projects with a lot of utilities on them. It's going to be a good tool for us. Again, thanks to Kelly and her team for helping us get to where we are. There was a lot of work that went into that and a lot of collaboration and communication. Thank y'all for that. And in utility relocation requirement legislation, this legislation seeks to provide more efficiency and certainty in our contract schedules as it pertains to utility relocation. We've known that's been a challenge for a while. We were able to get some legislation passed this year, and we're working to promulgate rules. We hope to have those rules for the commission in December, and then we'll start working on that new process, building projects under those new rules. Any questions about any of the legislation? Okay. Last week I spoke in Hot Springs, thanks to Tyler. Thank you, Tyler. We can get you a seat if you need a seat, man. You good? Thank you for having me out there at Concrete Paving Conference. It was good to be there. Good discussion about project updates. Again, what's going on around the department. We value the partnership and your leadership with the group. Thank you for that. Paul Tinsley was also there. He spoke and did a fantastic job of talking about innovations in our materials group. And we had a lot of great discussion. On Friday, Commissioner Holder and Halsey were here as we kicked off our Street Smart Safety campaign with the press conference. That was another fantastic day, special day for us. It's the first of its kind. This program's the first of its kind in Arkansas, and we're going to be reaching 6th through 8th graders around the state, statewide, teaching them about road safety before they get behind the wheel. It's also about being a safe passenger, bicyclist, and pedestrian. Special thanks to Department of Education Secretary Jacob Oliva, the panel of educators who helped served as advisors for our team. Our own staff, Travis Brooks, Lamry, Root, and Lonis, and their teams did a fantastic job developing materials and making sure it was relevant for the teenagers and for the students. And then the 5 Arkansas teenagers that started in the production, you see them on the screen behind me. They tried out and were selected, and they did a fantastic job. We feel like the students are more apt to listen to kids rather than adults, and I think these guys are going to be very relatable to the students. So I want to show you a quick video. There were 9 videos that were recorded, produced from the shoot, but here's one of those videos I want to show you now.
Seriously? Could you just drive right now? Just a second. I'm almost done sending this. It's important.
Yeah, so is my life. You're not even trying to look at the road.
Come on, like you don't text while you drive. I can do both.
Look, I know texting while driving is one of the most common distractions, but it's also one of the most deadly.
Did you know that when you look away to text on your phone, you're looking away for at least 5 seconds? At 55 miles per hour, that's enough time to drive the length of a football field. In just those few seconds, you can swerve into the other lane, miss a stop sign or a red light, or a person or animal crossing the road.
Okay, I get it. I didn't realize it was that serious.
And distractions aren't just about texting. Other things like eating, putting on makeup, or messing with the radio can also take your focus off the road.
Okay, got it. I should wait to do my makeup till I get where I'm going.
For real though, things that can distract you from driving are a big risk. It may not seem like a big deal, but those few seconds can be the difference between life and death.
Okay, I get it. No distractions. But what if I really do need to check my phone or eat a sandwich?
If you really need to do something, pull over first. It's always safer to stop somewhere safe than to try to do it while driving.
Or you could feed me a sandwich while I drive because you're such a good friend.
Don't push it, buddy.
Tell your friends, stay street smart.
So very well done. Yeah, very well done. Yeah. We built lesson plans for 6th through 8th grade teachers. They're all available now on streetsmartar.org, out there for everyone to check out. we're looking forward to seeing the fruits of those labors here in the school year. All right, next up, we're going to talk about our internal audit plan and the internal audit division's charter. And so Maggie will come up and talk about that in a moment. But before she does, I want to introduce our guest here, who's going to present the results of an external quality assessment that was done of the internal audit division that was completed late last year. This assessment is required once every 5 years by the standards that we use, the global internal audit standards. So Mr. Steve Goodson is here on behalf of the Institute of Internal Auditors Quality Services. That's a mouthful for me. He presents the results of the assessment, and appreciate you for being here, Steve.
Thank you, Director. Good morning. Still morning, yes. Director Wiley, Commissioners, Chairman, Management, thank you for the opportunity to present the results of the External Quality Assurance Review that was conducted in November of last year. It answers the question, who audits the auditors, right? The answer is the Institute of Internal Auditors in this case. My name, as the Director Wiley mentioned, is Steve Goodson. I am a retired Chief Audit Executive from the state of Texas. I currently teach internal audit at the University of Texas in Austin as well. And when I'm not teaching, I do these quality assurance reviews. The objective of the quality assurance review is to evaluate the internal audit's conformance with the global standards. We also look to see if they're effective and efficient in their work, and we look for opportunities to improve. The scope of our effort included the internal audit function as set forth in the Internal Audit Charter, and our work was conducted last November. It's a pretty thorough evaluation that we do in these external quality assessments. We review information that is prepared by the internal audit team. We conduct interviews of key stakeholders, which includes executive management, commission members, as well as staff and customers of the internal audit function. We review a sample of audit work as well. We dig into their work to make sure that the methodologies and the conclusions made are reasonable and would be made by another reasonable internal auditor. Did they prove their work and their conclusions? As well as taking survey data from the stakeholders to get an opinion of how they're doing serving the organization. As a result, we identified 10 successful practices, 7 opportunities to improve, and 2 conformance gaps. What I'd like to focus on today is the 2 conformance gaps. These are things that kept them from actually 100% fully meeting the standards, but they still generally conform with the standards. So just because there's a conformance gap, as you may know, related to other activities, doesn't mean they're not in conformance with the standards. And these conformance gaps related, number 1, to proficiency related to information technology. The internal audit function does a great job in partnering with the IT folks here at the organization to get the resources they need, but an ideal internal audit function is going to have independent access to that IT technology, whether that's through developing the folks in-house, which is sometimes difficult, or obtaining those resources through a contract. The second item of what did not conform is that internal audit must also evaluate themselves on an annual basis. That's a fairly new requirement, and that had not quite been done here at RDOT. So the second conformance gap is that they need to conduct periodic assessments, at least annually, and report those results to the commission and to executive management. With that, you can see the overall conclusion is that RDOT's internal audit division generally conforms to the internal audit standards for the professional practices of internal auditing. Generally conforms is the highest rating available under the previous standards. So they got green in every area. So congratulations to internal audit. I do, on behalf of the Institute of Internal Auditors, have a plaque to present to Maggie. And who else anybody else coming up for this? All right. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Again, thank you for the opportunity to take a peek inside your internal audit function. They're doing a great job. I think that the folks that I spoke to highly regarded the internal audit function and the value they were bringing to your organization, and I commend Maggie for her and her staff for doing so. So congratulations once again.
Thank you, Steve. Any questions for Steve from our commission? No? Steve, thank you for the audit, and we appreciate the dialogue and the conversation that we had throughout that process.
Thank you, sir.
Yes, sir.
Thank you. I really appreciate that, Mr. Goodson, for coming and joining us and presenting the results of that assessment. Okay. So I have some things to present to you as well, and I just want to say my appreciation for allowing me the opportunity to come up here and present some more information to you. The standards require that I prepare certain information and present it to the commission either for review or approval. So we're going to talk about our action plans to the external quality assessment, and that's just for your review. And then I have 3 documents that will be for your approval, and those are going to be the internal audit's strategic plan. We have some revisions to our charter, and then I'm also going to talk a little bit about our 2026 annual audit plan. Once I walk through the 3 documents, I also have one last slide. I just want to tell you a little bit, just high-level summary of what my internal audit division staff have been working on for the last fiscal year. And because I'm very proud of the work that they do, I want to just let you know what they've accomplished. Okay. So for the 2 conformance gaps that Steve just noted, we have set aside hours in our annual audit plan to develop a strategy for information technology auditing. So we want to analyze the audit procedures that we believe are important and that will provide value to the department. So from that, we'll determine what we feel comfortable with performing and determine what audit procedures we can do versus what we may need to outsource. Of course, we'll work with the director and department administration to determine the scope and the timing of those planned IT audits. Additionally, we've made headway on developing and implementing an internal quality assessment program within our division, and I do plan to complete a formal internal quality assessment and will present the results to the commission by June of 2026. Also, we have completed action plans for 5 of the 7 opportunities for improvement, so I'll tell you about those real quick. We are providing a more focused training on internal audit activities, specifically in our division quarterly meetings. We've restructured staff organizationally for better workflow to ensure timeliness on all of our work paper reviews. Also, we've completed an internal audit strategic plan, and we'll look at that in just a moment. We've developed a findings follow-up process, which includes reporting of outstanding management action items to senior management. And we've amended the internal audit division charter as recommended, which we will also look at in a moment. What we have remaining to do and what we want to make progress on this year is to plan audit procedures for information technology, and one of the first steps to do that is to take a look at information technology governance. So we're going to do an information technology governance project to start that off. Also, we want to complete an internal audit competency framework model. And so what this does, it just helps us to ensure that our audit staff are growing and they're developing in their individual competencies. So let's take a quick look at the strategic plan. As I mentioned before, we've developed an internal audit strategic plan, and this plan is included in your packet. It includes a strategic vision, objectives, and initiatives. It's tied to the department's strategic plan, and it also includes critical success factors. So the strategic objectives and initiatives are organized into 4 categories, which are suggested by the Institute of Internal Auditors. And these include talent, process, technology, and strategic advisor. The critical success factors is the other thing I want to mention. So these are measures that we will use to determine if we have actually achieved our objectives. And so I plan to include a new section in the quarterly commission reports that I provide to you, which will display our progress for those critical success factors. Next, let's take a quick look at the charter. So just a little background, the charter is a formal document that sets forth the mandate by the Commission to the Internal Audit Division, and it establishes our organizational independence. It requires conformance to the standards, and it also defines our scope of work and types of services. And this document is also included in your packet. The charter's been revised based upon recommendations made in the external quality assessment. We've updated the first introductory paragraph to reflect the new global internal audit standards, which became effective in January 2025. We've added a comment that the Commission can provide input to senior management to ensure adequate competencies and qualifications of the Chief Auditor. And then we've also addressed the non-internal audit activities that we perform that if they're considered high risk, then those need to be included in an audit which is not performed by the Internal Audit Division. And then the last document I want to briefly tell you about is our 2026 annual audit plan, and the full plan is also included in your packet. So the plan includes a discussion about how we perform our annual audit planning, and that includes how we do our organization-wide risk assessment. There are also comments about the different projects that we plan to do, and you can see that in the overview of engagements and other activities section. We also talk about assurance coverage for the significant risk areas. And there's also a graphic in there that's the organization's chart where you can see how the coverage spans across the department. Our resource plan is also included along with our budget, and our fiscal year 2026 budget was approved in June, so appreciate that. And then the last section of the annual audit plan lists the specific global internal audit standards, and it includes comments about how we conform to those standards. But the highlight of our plan is the list of audits that we plan to conduct in this upcoming year. And so through our risk assessment process, we have selected the following audit projects: the Program Management Division's Program Funding Section, the Arkansas Highway Police, the Stock Inventory Process, Information Technology Governance, which I mentioned a minute ago, and then also Districts 10, 5, and 2. And then here's my last slide. So I wanted to tell you a little bit about what our group has done in the last fiscal year, and that includes completion of 104 IFTA audits and 24 indirect cost rate reviews. We've issued 7 internal audit reports and worked on 1 investigation. We've conducted 47 control self-assessment sessions and made almost $4 million in motor fuel tax assessments. So if you have any questions, I would be glad to address those now, but if not, I would like to ask that the Commission approve our internal audit strategic plan, the revised internal audit charter, and the 2026 annual audit plan.
Mr. Chairman, we'll need a motion for that approval if the Commission is so inclined.
Commissioners, you have heard these plans. I would entertain a motion to approve all 3 as presented.
I'll make that motion.
We have a motion. Do I hear a second?
Second.
We got a motion and a second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion passes.
Thank you. Thank you, Maggie. Appreciate all the work you guys are doing.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
All right, next up on the agenda, we have a consultant selection for your consideration. Last year, you authorized us to request proposals to seek qualified consulting firms to help us with asset data collection. So this may be pavement assets, bridge assets. It's a variety of assets that we're responsible for managing and maintaining here. We received 8 letters of interest, and of those 8, 5, the ones on the screen, were recommended for selection. They do various types of asset data collection. But with that, I would request a motion for this approval.
Oh.
I'll make that motion. Oh, sorry. Got ahead of the chairman.
We have heard the request. Do I hear a motion to approve the staff recommendation?
I'll make that motion.
I'll second.
We got a motion and second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion passes.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Next up, we're going to hear from our State Aid Division engineer, Mr. Brian Freeling, in our Around the Department segment. He's going to talk to us about the State Aid Division. And Brian, he has a bridge background. He spent a number of years in bridge design, so he has a lot of experience he brings to State Aid. Thank you, Brian.
I'm going to get my eyeballs on it first. Well, good morning, Chairman Taldo, Commissioners, and Director Wiley. It's good to see everybody. I'm just really honored to get up here and talk and share with everybody a little bit about the State Aid Division and the 2 programs that we administer. And we're going to take a very high-level look for sure for time, but over our county road and our city street program. Right now, I'm just going to visit a little bit about the division itself. The mission of the State Aid Division is to provide quality administrative and engineering assistances to the counties in accordance with Act 445 of 1973 and the cities in accordance with Acts 982 of 1975 and 1032 of 2011, effectively utilizing federal, state aid, and local funds to provide safe and efficient designs for county roads and city street improvements. Right now, the State Aid Division, we have 16 employees. We have 12 engineers, 6 of which are professional engineers. We also have 3 technical positions, which are our designers, and then we have 1 administrative assistant. So we're going to look at the programs. We're going to start with the county program first. Under Act 445, the state law states, provided further that no funds shall be spent hereunder on any project which shall not culminate directly in a hard paved surface. That's asphalt or double seal. No such funds shall be used for maintenance on state aid roads. This is the bread and butter of what we do in state aid. All the vast majority of the projects that come out of our divisions are going to be overlay projects, double seal projects, or even surfacing projects. Under Act 445, the State Aid Division was created for exactly this purpose. It was to provide engineering services to coordinate county road projects between RDOT and the actual county judge. And I think it's very important to reiterate right there, these projects are always chosen by the county judge. This is not RDOT. When we visit them, we tell them the do's and don'ts. Under Act 445, the state aid road system was established. It consisting of the main traffic connectors in each county. The system is currently at 11,459 miles, which is in compliance with the current 20,000-mile allotment. A state aid road was defined in this act. Any road that is classified as a major or minor collector or having one or more of the following characteristics. They extend into larger communities. They connect with roads of major importance in adjoining counties. They connect state highways to form a network or main feeder roads. They carry heavy volumes of traffic, serving major businesses and agricultural interests of the county, and they collect traffic at reasonable intervals along local roads. In your packet, there should be a map provided for you for Washington County. And I attached this just as an example so that you could see visually what the state aid system might look like for an individual county. And I think it's important to point out here that it's not every road in the counties. There is a certain set for each county. For example, for right here in Washington County, there's 112 miles actually on the state aid system, of which there's actually 1,031 county road miles. So the funding for the program, Act 445 provided a funding source of 1 cent per gallon to be collected and distributed to all 75 of the counties. Initially, this amount was capped, but in 2023, it had been capped at 19 million, and that was removed. In fiscal year 24, we collected 21.8 million. Last year, in 2025, we collected 21.7 million, about a million downturn there. Something that is very unique to state aid, and I have to read this because it's very, very in-depth. The salary of the state aid engineer, his assistants, and other employees of the division, and all other expenses incurred by the division in carrying out the provisions of this act shall be paid from the state aid road fund prior to the allocation of the counties. And again, that is very unique to state aid. In 2025, after all the costs were incurred, $17.6 million was allocated to the counties for projects. So we've kind of seen here how we know how much money we're getting. We know we have how many miles we can use, but how are this mileage and money actually sent out to each of the counties? Well, the state law provides this portions, if you will. The first 50% is divided equally to all 75 counties. The next 25% is divided to the counties based on the actual size of that county to the size of the state. This is directly an acre-to-acre comparison. And the last 25 is proportioned out to the rural population of that county. That's all the municipalities with less than 2,500 people compared to the rural population of the state. And all this information will be based on the last 10-year census. So now we've looked at all of these components, and we have our purpose. We're fixing to make something hard surface. We've got our engineering in place. We have the state aid division. We know what roads we got. We've got the system. But how does all this happen? And this is my favorite part of my job, for sure. It's the simplicity of it and how personable it really is. That in order to use state aid funds, all proposals shall be under contract, let and inspected by RDOT. On all of our state aid county road programs, there is a minimum 10% matching on all these jobs. Some accomplishments of state aid. This year in 2025, we over 200 miles of roadways are going to be improved. We've let 56 projects totaling over $22.7 million. Since the inception of the program, and this is a huge number for us, over 15,200 miles have been improved. We've had over 850 bridge projects, and there's been nearly 5,000 projects led and awarded through this program for totaling $1.2 billion. Billion is not something you usually hear when we talk about state aid. So now we're going to look at the City Street program. This program is very similar in nature to this. It was pretty much mimicked during the development of it this last time. And the intent of Act 1032, make sure I got on the board, yes. The intent of Act 32 was to create the state aid in the state treasury, a fund to be known as the State Aid Street Fund, to be used for construction, reconstruction, and improvements of city streets. This funding is from a permanent 1 cent sales tax on fuel as well. And like the county program, all costs incurred for administering this program will be paid by this individual program. This is the bread and butter of the city street, just like the counties. All these jobs, this is basically an overlay program for the cities. The law established that this fund would be administered by a state aid street committee whose main responsibility I'd point out, would include determining The committee will then go for decide the approval of which projects they will decide for the next year, and based on that, then we program jobs for the upcoming bid lettings. The funding for this program was originally established at $250,000 per overlay project and $400,000 for a design project. The committee in January of 2020 changed the available funds for overlay projects from $250,000 to $300,000, and there was no change in the design projects. In this most recent legislative session, the committee proposed that overlay project funding be increased to $400,000 for overlays and $500,000 for design projects. This is literally approved last week, and filing with the Secretary of State will be coming soon. For projects that do exceed the allowable funds, the municipalities are required to either pay the overage or to reduce the contract. That's something we do out in the field with our field people, our resident engineer offices. Cities that have populations greater than 25,000 must provide a minimum of 10% matching funds. All the other cities, it can cost them nothing. For design projects, there is a maximum of $160,000 available for engineering. That is for both preliminary engineering and construction engineering and inspection. So like the county program, we can see how much money is available, but how does the city go about getting a project? While it's not as easy as the phone call on the county projects, all they are requested to do is submit a request to the street committee. We have a citystreet.arkansas.gov website that has a sample letter out there and directions of how to fill that out and where to send it. They send all of that to the street committee. The street committee will review these requests, and if it's applicable, they'll forward them on to the state aid division for further handling, and that further handling is literally us going out and visiting them and looking at the roads. And as the slide shows up there, just to show the simplicity of it, it really is that easy. We call, we go look, we develop the plans, we let the project, and we do it. I can remember telling one mayor he was very concerned of how all that went, and I said, it's really going to be easy. You're going to pass a resolution and you're going to get your roads paid. So I'm really thankful for that simplicity of it. Some accomplishments of the City Street program. For 2025, more than 75 miles are going to be improved. We awarded 63 projects for $20.8 million. Since inception of the program, the City Street programs has improved over 1,400 miles. There's been over 1,000 projects let and awarded, and totaling of $264 million. And I know that's a lot of information real quick, but unless you have any question, Director Wiley, that is my presentation.
Thank you, Brian. Any questions for Brian? Yes, sir.
It seemed like there'd be a lot of competition for those services, for the work is there a lot of competition for it? Between the cities?
So the
counties?
Yeah, the approval process is for the committee is usually based on the last year they were approved. Basically, if a city was approved 4 years ago, their turn in the queue is now back up again. So that's kind of how that is the main selection criteria that the committee uses to pick it. Like, let's just say the city of Hardy just had a project, literally. 4 more years from now, they'll be in the queue, and it'll probably be about time. So it's a revolving door for sure.
Thank you.
Yeah, with 500 cities, it takes a while to get through them all each year, and then they'll get back in line. But the counties, Brian, you do projects just about every year in each county, correct?
We did. This year, we did about 50. I don't remember any time looking historically we've ever done all 75, but 50 is is the norm.
The thanker, here I am. Just, Brian, you're doing a great job, and I know these projects mean the world to our cities and counties, and they're so important, and you're one of our more forward-facing divisions, working with those cities and counties, and we appreciate that. And when those roads are healthy, it helps our whole system, and it's important to have this network, and we appreciate everything you're doing. Good job.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you.
Thank you.
Appreciate you, Brian. All right, let's take a peek at what's coming up over the next couple months before your next meeting. Tomorrow, Chairman Taldo, Vice Chairman Gibson, Commissioner Hake, and I will sit down with our governor to talk about Interstate 49 ahead of the groundbreaking event that's being held on Friday. We're looking forward to that. It's going to be a great day. Instead of turning dirt, we're going to be driving spikes. I'm looking forward to doing that a little differently on Friday, but it should be a fantastic day, and we expect a big turnout there. On August 25th, I'll be in Rogers talking to the economic developers and chamber executives at their annual conference about RDOT and what's going on around the agency. The work we do directly impacts the work that they do, for sure. On August 27th, the Mobile Concrete Technology is going to visit Central Arkansas. They'll be in Cabot up at the Weaver Bailey project, and we'll be out there looking at concrete testing, new technology that's out there. We'll have folks from around the region coming to that event. Our communications team will be there, and we'll be talking about that in future publications. August 29th is our retirement board meeting. September 9th, I have a PE board meeting and the 100th anniversary celebration of the board. It's turning 100 years old this year. On September 10th, we'll host the Arkansas Asphalt Paving Association partners here at the central office. It's always a great discussion about what's going on out there in the field. We like to collaborate with our contractors. September 11th, I'll speak to the Arkansas Trucking Association's Safety Management Council. Again, you're seeing that theme of safety. We're trying to do our part to make sure that we're all working together to improve safety for all of Arkansas. On the 16th, I'll go to Rogers to talk to their Rotary Club about the department. And then later that day, there's an event planned in Memphis for the Interstate 55 bridge, so I plan to make it to that event as well. On September 23rd, we'll have our Construction Supervisor Conference. This is the first one we've done like this with the construction supervisors that I'm aware of. Is that correct, Rex? And so we'll set the vision for our construction leaders out there, making sure that we're all on the same page as we manage those construction projects in the 33 resident engineer offices across the state. September 23rd through 25th, the rodeo will be held in Lexington, Kentucky. We'll send those first and second place winners from the state rodeo to Lexington and hope that they bring back a trophy for Arkansas again. And then October 1st, we'll have a similar conference to the construction conference, but this one is for our maintenance supervisor conference. And we have had this in the past. We have it every year. And again, we chart the course. We set the vision for those maintenance supervisors as they go about their work each day. October 8th, we'll be back here for the next commission meeting. So just a couple other items I want to touch on before we adjourn. Commissioner Holder, last meeting you asked about our bridge condition and the health of our bridges, and you've heard a few updates today about our bridges, but I want to dive into it just a little bit deeper and let you know where we stand. Our teams, Andy, Rick, those guys, they track our bridge conditions real time based on inspection data, boots on the ground data. We report that to Federal Highways once a year. A lot of people are surprised to learn that RDOT, our agency, owns and operates today. The number is 7,362 bridges. We own and maintain those bridges statewide. If you look at us nationwide, we have the 15th most state-owned structures. If you look at it on a per capita basis, this is interesting to me. We have about 2.4 bridges per person, per 1,000 people, in Arkansas. We're good to clarify that. We're third behind West Virginia and Wyoming, though, in the number of bridges per person. So we have a lot of bridges in Arkansas, and not as much revenue maybe to take care of those bridges. This map shows the condition of our bridges, the number of bridges in good condition. So the darker the green, the better condition your bridges are in as a state. It didn't change? Okay, this is the one. This is the one. It's a dark green. And then this next one in red, this is a percentage of bridges that we have in poor condition by state. So the lighter the color, the lighter the red, the fewer poor bridges you have. So we're doing pretty well overall for poor bridges and good bridges. This next slide maps all of the RDOT-owned bridges. So by the numbers, 44% of our bridges are in good condition. It's about 3,200 bridges. Fair, about half our bridges are in fair condition, 3,800 bridges. And then 5% of our bridges, or 374, are currently in poor condition. A bridge can be in poor condition based on the deck, superstructure, or substructure rating. So just to paint a little bit of a picture here about the status of our bridges, this is a really good graphic to demonstrate the bridge age in Arkansas. As you can see, we've broken down the number of bridges and their condition by decade. Again, these are highway bridges, state-owned bridges, but the majority of our bridges that are in place today were built in that infrastructure boom when we were spending a lot of dollars at a federal and state level on infrastructure in the 50s, 60s, and 70s. So that's evident on the screen there. As we all know, the older infrastructure gets, the more maintenance it needs as the condition deteriorates. Back then, design life was around 50 years. So if you look at the past 50 years of bridges, they're in relatively great shape overall. But when you go back into the 70s and before, you're seeing some signs of age there. A quick stat on that, those bridges that were built prior to 1980, okay, I told you we had 374 poor bridges, okay? 363 of those, all but 11, were built prior to 1980, okay? And in looking at national trends, I showed you state by state. This lumps all bridges in one category, and so Arkansas, of course, has a higher proportion of this share than some states because we have more bridges. We're 15th most in the country. But the national lines on this map, there are a lot of lines up there. The national are the dotted lines, the dashed lines, if you can see it. Arkansas's data is shown in the solid lines, so good being green, yellow fair, and red poor. So our trends are similar to the nationwide trends. You'll see that on the screen. Overall, we're doing better on the good. We have more good bridges than the average. We have fewer poor bridges than the average, which is good because most of those bridges are falling in that good category. But as you see, we're converging on the poor line, the national average, and about to eclipse that line. And that's, again, due to the age of our infrastructure. And it's also due to this graphic. I wanted to show you just this is kind of telling if you look at this graphic on the screen. Our program management division does a great job of putting our program together, allocating that funding to take care of the system. Part of that is knowing what these projects cost so we can put a budget together for the STIP. In 2018, the cost per square foot of a bridge, to build a bridge, so we look at the bridge deck, how big is that bridge? An average cost per square foot per bridge, new bridge, was $150. And you can see through time that post-COVID era inflation is just running away with us a little bit. And today it's $700 a square foot, over 4 times more expensive. So if we look at a sample there on the screen, this is the overpass right out here out front. If you take this bridge as an example, it's a good standard size bridge. In 2018, we could replace 33 bridges with the funding that we have available for bridges of this size, and today we can replace 7. So just a little bit of a change in situation, and we're doing the best to stretch that dollar as far as we can. That's why it's so important to prop up our bridge operations team and pat them on the back, because they really do a great job of taking care of these aging bridges for us.
Jared?
Yes, sir.
Quick question. Do we focus on that 5% in poor condition when we're allocating funds for bridge repair?
Yes, sir. We certainly do. Yeah, and that's our goal. That's the first thing we look at. Is this bridge in poor shape? Is there maintenance that we can do on that bridge at lower cost to get it out of poor, to keep it in tip-top shape? But if we can't do maintenance with our internal forces, then we have to look to replacement. So yes.
Are most of those in rural areas, small bridges, big? I mean, is it varied?
They vary. They come in all shapes and forms.
How long do we think it'll take us to get that 5% up to out of the poor condition category?
to have no poor bridges, it would take a long time, because you see, if we can, Christy, would you flip back to that decade? So the bridges, as you see that yellow grow and that red grow over decades, right? As we get those older bridges taken care of, other bridges age as well. And so to get us there, to have no poor bridges would be a great thing, but it would require us to spend all of our funding that we have and then much more to even get there. So it's not feasible for us. That's why we're hoping that the feds come through with a good increase in funding for our bridge program this year, and we'll put that to good use. But we're working hard to tackle those. We just want to see that not continue to grow, that poor percentage.
Yeah, if you fixed them all this year, you'd had others come into that category.
Yes, sir.
As
Yes, sir.
time goes on. Yeah.
Yep. And so our team does a great job with the data that we collect. The approval you gave us earlier for the data collection services, we feed that into the system as well to help us be predictive. And then we also, let's go ahead to the inspection team slide. So we have 29 teams, and again, we talked about it a little bit earlier. You got to see some of their expertise firsthand here a few weeks ago. We have 5 teams that work statewide, 24 that work in the districts, and they do bridge inspections day in and day out, looking at these 7,400 RDOT-owned bridges and an additional 5,000 bridges that are owned by cities and counties. They do about 9,000 inspections each year with a lot of great specialized equipment. We have 15 snooper trucks, the ones you saw parked on the bridge that extends, articulated arm extends out and goes under the bridge. 15 of those, 27 drones that we use with 32 licensed pilots. We have that underwater drone, a LiDAR system that we can mount to the truck or a drone. And then we have 2 inspection boats that help us look at what's going on under the surface. And of course, we have those diving inspectors that help us go under the water surface to see what's going on below elevation. Our statewide crews, they perform about 275 bridge inspections per year and about 50 underwater bridge inspections per year. That's in addition to those district crews that are out there doing their thing every day. That makes up that 9,000 inspections that we do each year. Rex talked about this bridge a few moments ago. Repair and rehab crews, we have 17 of those statewide. 4 of them are focused on heavy repairs, 10 district repair crews. Commissioner Gibson, you asked about location. You're in the Delta. We have a lot of timber structures, and those are also coming of age too. Over time, those timbers deteriorate, rot, and they require a lot of maintenance. So our team is great at taking care of those bridges, but it's a constant effort that's needed for sure. We have a box replacement crew, and we have 2 crews that paint bridges and do polymer overlays to help protect that bridge deck, to slow the cracks, to fill the cracks, to keep that water from going in or that salt from going in and further deteriorating those bridge decks. So we're blessed with a great dedicated staff that helps us combat that deterioration of those aging bridges. And this information too, I want to make sure with bridges, we have a live public dashboard that shows anybody at a glance at any moment how our bridges are looking. So you can go to rdot.gov/performance and see each bridge in the state, whether we own it, whether the counties or the cities, or maybe even a college owns it. And you can click on that dot and learn more about that bridge, including when it was built and its current condition. So it's a really good resource for us. Any questions about bridges or bridge program? We have our foremost experts in the room. Any questions about that?
Thank you. I just appreciate it. This has become a major focus for us in the last few years, and y'all have done an excellent job.
Yeah.
Really appreciate it.
Thank you, Commissioner. And we appreciate you guys investing in our workforce and our equipment that helps us to make a good push forward. All right, some good news regarding electric vehicle infrastructure program. We talked about this through the years. We were talking about it in February when this program was suspended or paused. I'll say it that way, by the federal government, because they wanted to take a look at the guidance and make sure it aligned with the new administration. So they've done that, and new guidance was issued to us last week about the NEVI program. we're going to be modifying our plan, resubmitting that to the federal government. The program we expect to resume just as it was going before. We expect that there will be a few efficiencies interjected into this, most likely. The approval process should be a little simpler in the future, and so we'll be submitting that program soon, and hopefully at the next commission meeting we'll have news to share with you that we're ready to open up that application cycle that we paused when this got paused. All right, moving on to more good news here, the Build Grant Award. We received a $24.5 million Build Grant Award for Springdale Bypass Phase 4, shown in the oval on your screen. So the easternmost phase, we applied for assistance with right-of-way acquisition, and we received $24.5 million in a grant. And so that's great news for that Phase 4 of that project. I know Chairman Tallow, you've been working hard on that for a number of years. We're working on building a partnership with the locals to help get us the rest of the way there for construction. But this really helps shore up funding needed to secure that right-of-way for the future. So, fantastic. We got word yesterday, and we released a press release yesterday evening, that we now have approval to sign Highway 440, so Highway 440 between Interstate 40 and Interstate 57 as Interstate 440. This road was built to interstate standards 2 decades ago. I remember when it opened, I was driving back and forth from Jonesboro, and it was a great cut through for me when I was coming home. In 2003, Governor Huckabee joined the commission there and dedicated that section of 440. So here we are 22 years later, now it's Interstate 440. And that's great for commerce and for goods and services in the region. We know that it's important to have that designation to be more attractive. Next, I want to brag on our staff for this. We talk about communication. It's been a focus for us this year. Our team's embracing that, and I'm so thankful for what they're doing. RDOT has engaged with Populo. It's an application. I don't use social media, but it's sort of like it's an internal social media platform for our users, for our employees. And so we're able to reach them on their phones. Some of our crews are out there, they don't have computers, but they got a phone. And so we're able to reach them with employee spotlights, history segments about RDOT and the commission and history of our system. We provide health and safety tips, news, really good information. It gives me a platform to send messages to the staff as well. So it's just getting started. We rolled it out about a month ago, but it's really picking up steam, and we're glad to see that. And then lastly, I want to talk to you about our On the Dot segment. So Parker and his team, we challenged them, and Parker was already working on it, but we wanted to create a newscast feel, like a weekly recap of what's going on around the agency, and his team took and ran with that. They've created this On the Dot. So On the Dot stands for On the DOT, and they publish a weekly broadcast about what's going on around the department. I want to play a segment from the last 2 episodes.
Here's your weekly RDOT News Roundup, brought to you every Monday on the dot. The July heat in South Arkansas didn't stop us from celebrating the completion of a major infrastructure upgrade in Monticello, the Scoggin Drive extension.
July brings long, hot days for crews around the state. We all know that. And with the start of a new fiscal year, that means sealing, like this in District 3 along Highway 70 in Howard County. What do you get when you mix drones, divers, and a giant snooper truck? A bridge inspection, RDOT style, of course. Last week, RDOT crews had the opportunity to show off how a bridge inspection is done.
And one more thing, a poem from District 7 Zone David Archer regarding chip sealing.
The oil is hot and the oil is black. The oil is used to seal the crack. It's also a little bit sticky, and that can sometimes be a little bit tricky. But we cover it with rock and roll it real good. although the travelers feel it's a bit of a load, it is the most economical way to extend the life of the road. So when the dog days of summer begin to feel real, just know it's time to seal the deal.
That does it for this week's episode of On the Dot. Stay safe, and thanks for watching.
With that, Mr. Chairman, I'll conclude my report.
Okay. Just as a side note, don't try to post that on Facebook because you can't do it, right? We can't.
Not one day, not yet. Not yet.
Yeah.
We're working on that. Yes, sir.
I already tried. It didn't work. Thank you, Director. Is there any other business to come before the commission today? If not, the meeting is adjourned.